some criminals threaten the whole world. What is a contraband in the dungeon? Every day, adventurers work hard to explore the dungeon. When they successfully explore the dungeon and defeat the monsters, they can obtain untold treasures. However, before the adventurers leave the dungeon, the treasures must be handed over for inspection. This is because many of them have incredible power. If such things are allowed to circulate without permission, they can be used for evil, which will endanger people's lives. So the Adventurers Association should check and register these treasures first, and then tax them according to their value. However, there are people who violate this rule. They lure adventurers who do not want to pay these huge taxes and secretly pocket treasures at a loss. So if you see such bad guys, hurry up and report them to the association.
When I was very young, my father was my greatest adventurer. And it's not just because he was my father. His name was Hrajir. He was one of the first-generation heroes who can be called the first adventurers. For those who did not exist at that time, the history of the first generation is a great legend. But for the adventurers of that time, it was hell. Moreover, at that time there was still not enough information about what dungeons are and what monsters live in them. Today, monsters that are considered easy prey, they were an unknown disaster for the adventurers of that era. It was a time when there were no skills to fight monsters. There were no items that are so common now. Under such hellish conditions, the adventurers of the first generation went through trial and error, risking their lives. The survivors passed on experience and achievements to the next generation and became heroes like Dragon Slayer, Hrajir. The nickname given to the first person who defeated the dragon was Dragon Slayer. He was the best adventurer in Asia, and my father, whom I respected and revered more than anyone in the world. I considered him an invincible hero. However, of his death was the poison that deprived us of this great man. I could not believe that this happened. During his research, my father was poisoned with a deadly poison. As always, he tried to overcome difficulties, but years later, his body was already at the limit. Colleagues, whom his father had trusted with his life, took advantage of his vulnerability and appropriated his achievements and property. He suffered for many years, both mentally and physically. It was an ordeal for him and for our family. My father, Dragon Slayer, Hrajir, suffered from an incurable poison and lost everything he held dear. Years later, when the world had already begun to forget about him, he no longer looked like the hero he was before. His memory was forgotten, and he suffered alone. But even in this state, he remained my hero, and I always respected him for his exploits. I was stunned when I heard that my father lost a game of pill to some kid, but I knew that didn't mean he wasn't a good adventurer. His life was full of adventure and danger, and he was always a real hero. I am proud of him as my father, and I will always remember his exploits. But now I need to finish this cigarette and move on. Boasting about having beaten a comrade is a sure sign that he is weak. There are only two reasons why a good adventurer retires. Either his body is destroyed to the point where he can no longer continue, or he died while exploring. I don't know what his salary was, but if it was above the minimum, then it's better to fire him. Everyone can build themselves strong. This is a bit rough, but please try to understand us. By the way, the pay for the work was doubled. What nonsense! You didn't provoke us, did you? We don't do anything for free, you know. Okay, I understood. Hey, Jaren, have you heard of the Imperial Wasp? Am I supposed to fight her? It's too dangerous.
The Imperial Wasp is a monster whose degree of danger is considered the highest not only in Korea, but throughout the world. Uido, the place where the Imperial Wasp made its nest, has become the Korean demon realm with the highest degree of difficulty.
Even a top-ranked adventurer finds it difficult to deal with one of them. These creatures are flying all over the place, so it's impossible for a smuggler to do so. But what about a white-ranked adventurer?
According to this person, there was a big raid yesterday that was not covered. The government army and 7 white-ranked adventurers made up the Purge Squad.
It can be said that most Korean stars are no longer as popular as they used to be. Gather at least 2 of them in one place. It will already be a great success. They were unable to achieve their original goal of eradication, but it looks like they managed to track down the queen of the Imperial Wasp. One of the 7 stole the Imperial Wasp's royal jelly and hired a smuggler to smuggle it out.
What is this jelly? The hero wondered.
Royal jelly is a food supplement that wasps feed their newborn queens. But why would a white-ranked adventurer hire a smuggler just for some food supplement? It turns out that there have been a few instances where Imperial Wasp royal jelly has found its way into the world. From what I know, if a person eats it, they might even rise from the dead. But these are only rumors, and no one knows how true they are.
How is this possible? The hero was surprised.
All paths to the dungeons, as claimed by the Adventurers Association and the government, are strictly controlled. But, as usual, this is a lie. Of course, I always say that, but be careful not to die, okay? This job will be particularly tedious. The hero nodded in response and went in search of the entrance to the dungeon. He knew that he would have to overcome many obstacles and risk his life, but his curiosity and thirst for adventure was stronger. Hey, "What are you doing?" asked the hero, addressing the stranger. "I'm just wondering why you don't care what I say. Maybe because of this. Maybe it can even bring the dead back to life. Did that hurt you that much? Nope. Rumors are always blown out of molehills." "Yes," the hero muttered, not believing that royal jelly could have such properties. "Even if it is considered a cure for everything, it cannot cure my father. If something like this existed at all, my father would never let go of the thread of hope." The hero continued, remembering his sick father. After the adhesion, dungeons appeared here and there all over the earth. Among them, there are two that are considered the greatest in Korea. The first is located in Chujudo, a dungeon that has merged with a volcanic mountain range. The second is the Igora jungle, located in what used to be Yoido, in the center of Seoul. With Yoido in the center, Mapo Yongsan and Yeongdungpo have been engulfed in this dungeon. Most of it remains unexplored, and many adventurers die while trying to explore the region. It looks like someone managed to deliver the goods to their destination. However, communication was lost at the designated place. I doubt he escaped. Most likely, it was an injury or an accident. The hero understood that this is a very dangerous place and decided to be careful. He continued on his way, but was prepared for any obstacles and dangers that might come his way. He must have taken a lot of shit to get out of there. So, your job is to inspect the designated area and bring items, if any. Continuing what I said earlier, keep your head down and focus on work. You think I'll run away with the goods? No, you're not that stupid. Just be careful. Remember, Imperial Wasp Royal Jelly is very valuable. Humans aren't the only ones willing to risk their lives to get it. I'm sure the whole forest smelled of this jelly." The hero understood that his work was very important and dangerous. He was ready for any obstacles and risks in order to fulfill his mission. He went into the forest knowing that he would have to overcome many dangers and fight for his life. Damn, what the fuck? Most likely, the whole forest flocked to this smell. Jean, sir, is in his first year at the Warrior Academy. Now she faces the biggest challenge of her life. It was supposed to be an easy trip to the exam dungeon, but instead she encountered something unexpected. There was a monster that shouldn't be in this place. What was it? The test was simple. Within a given time, it was necessary to collect as many coins as possible, which were hidden in the dungeon. Although this test was used to simulate real combat situations, the place where it was taken was the lowest rank. This test was supposed to be as easy as shelling pears, because this place was considered a training ground for beginners. Even the monsters that lived there were weak and had a low level of intelligence. Run. No, That's impossible. At that moment, she realized that she could only hope for a miracle. And even then, she decided to fight, no matter how many shots she fired.